What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in this week. No special music leading in because I got a lot to talk about this week. I'm recording this on Friday, September the 9th, 2016. Thank you very much, everybody, for stopping in and listening, as it were, or watching. A lot of stuff I want to get to this week. Mainly, I want to talk a little bit of gaming this week. They had the PlayStation announcing the Neo or the Slim and the Neo this week. Don't know if I'm going to buy it or not, to be honest with you, because I got a feeling that if I go out and waste my money on this, within 2 years of me buying it, they're going to announce a PlayStation 5. That's going to basically be everything the Neo is and more. So I don't know if I want to purchase that or not. I don't know if I'm into upgrading my video game systems like people are with this PC Master Race people. You know, they've got to upgrade by the time they get the latest and greatest GPU in their systems, their graphics card in their systems, it's kind of like a cell phone. By the time you get the newest and latest and greatest in there and get it put in the system and everything, a new one's coming out that's even better. So I don't know if I'm going to buy the Neo or not. What do you think, Lee? Are you going to be buying the new PlayStation? Are you going to go out and get a PlayStation 4 Slim? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I've had my PlayStation 4 for almost 2 years now. That thing is awesome. I love it. I use it for my Netflix. I use it for my WWE Network. YouTube. Speaking of the WWE Network, Backlash comes to you live this Sunday. WWE Backlash. It is a SmackDown-only pay-per-view. Coming to you from my home state of Virginia, out of the Richmond Coliseum. First pay-per-view that WWE has held in Richmond since Armageddon 2006. This is going to be the first pay-per-view I've been to since then, so about 10 years. It's going to be my first WWE live event in about 3 years. Actually, about 4 years. So it's a weak card. I'm looking forward to it, though. I really am. I guess I can run down the card here. Give me one moment here. I know you got AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE title. You got a tag team tournament match. Heath Slater and Rhino. It really sucks that they took American Alpha out of it. It really is. Golly, the last Backlash event was in 2009, so 7 years ago. So you got the tag team Usos. Basically, you got the winner of the Usos versus the Hype Bros, which will be taking place live on the pay-per-view, versus Heath Slater and Rhino. Now, it would be crazy if American Alpha run out during that match and cost the Usos the title shot. Therefore, you could set up a Usos versus the American Alpha match. You have Heath Slater and Rhino versus the Hype Bros for the tag titles. Give two new... Look, I can't stand Zack Ryder or Mojo Rawley. But I'd rather see them versus rather than the Usos going up against Heath Slater and Rhino. And do I think they'll give it to Heath Slater and Rhino? Well, you kind of booked yourself into a corner and kind of had to. With the whole Heath Slater contract thing. I mean, you done backstage vignettes on him. You did, vignettes where they go to his trailer and meet his wife and his 50 kids or whatever it was. And so I think that you almost have to give it to them. You got Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch versus Carmella versus Naomi versus Natalya versus Nikki Bella. Six-pack elimination challenge for the Blue Women's Championship. As much as I would love to see Becky Lynch or Carmella get it, they're going to give it to Nikki Bella, folks. They're going to give it to Nikki Bella, and I don't like it a damn bit. Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. Honestly, really, they're doing this to Bray Wyatt again. It's the same old crap. You book Bray Wyatt as this super mega heel, and then he loses at every pay-per-view. Miz versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship. Based on, they said that they have no plans to continue with the Miz Daniel Bryan thing, that the Miz kind of went off script there. So I'm thinking of this one of two ways. Either the Miz wins and goes into some kind of thing where Daniel Bryan just starts throwing bigger and bigger people at him, or Dolph Ziggler wins only because they are punishing the Miz for going off script in that interview. Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. Dean Ambrose has been a lame duck champion, in my opinion, folks. I like Dean. I liked him back when he was John Moxley, back in the old independent days, CZW, whatnot. But I think it's AJ Styles' time. AJ Styles is the new face that runs the place. I say have AJ run with it all the way to the Rumble, and John Cena come back, and they have that epic encounter all over again. But AJ, somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm sitting there going, WWE is going to find some way to screw the internet marks, because that's how they see it. And they're going to have Dean Ambrose walk away with this thing, which is nuts to me. So there's your SmackDown Backlash card. 6 matches total, because you're going to have the Usos. The winner of the Usos and Hype Bros goes on to face Heath Slater and Rhino. Weak card. But then again, it's a weak roster, and they're still trying to find their way with this. I'm happy to just be going to a WWE event, to me. They came to Greensboro for Raw a couple months back, and I didn't get to go. And it really kind of ticked me off. But this is even better. It's a pay-per-view. NXT is coming to Richmond also in October. I won't be able to go to that. But I got to go to NXT earlier this year. The Thursday after WrestleMania, I got to go to NXT, and I got to see, Nakamura and Balor team up in a tag match. It was amazing. Glad I got to see Balor on the NXT stage before he moved up to this, because, man, I feel sorry for that guy getting injured. Oof. So there's your Backlash card. Nothing for the pre-show announced yet. Doors at the Richmond Coliseum open up at 6:30. So I don't know if they're going to have a couple pre-show matches or not. Can they do it with their limited roster? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, very, very weak card for the first SmackDown only pay-per-view. You got Clash of Champions coming up soon on the Raw brand. And that's looking strong already. Actually, if you want to go by network chronology, according to the old Wikipedia, the Cruiserweight Classic is having their finals. We're making it down to the semifinals. Kota Ibushi and TJ Perkins. Grand Metalik versus Zack Sabre Jr. It's coming down to Sabre versus Kota Ibushi. That's why I haven't really watched any of it. I know I've been missing out on some good wrestling. But it was not that hard to predict once you see the way they let the back brackets out, the way they laid them out. And I'm not taking anything away from Kota Ibushi, and I'm not taking anything away from Zack Sabre Jr. It's going to be a hell of a match, but did they have to make it really predictable? Now, those two guys that they had in this tournament, the Bollywood Boys, I could see them on SmackDown here in a little while. And this right here is leading up probably, the cruiserweights are coming to Raw. probably the week after this. The finals are taking place September 14th. It's been a good tournament. Mauro Ranallo, Daniel Bryan, been doing a damn good job on commentary. Ranallo is the reason to watch SmackDown. There's a lot of people out there that says he yells too much and oh Mamma Mia and all that. You know what? It could be worse. You could be stuck listening to Michael Cole. So Clash of the Champions is coming up after that. Take place September 25th from Indianapolis, Indiana. So that's 2 weeks after 2 weeks after Backlash. And this shows you how much WWE cares. The Raw pay-per-views get the big cities like Indy. They stick SmackDown in Richmond, Virginia. But already set for that one, Charlotte versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. The New Day versus Gallows and Anderson for the Tag Team Championships. And going for that big red fruit roll-up belt, which actually looks good now that Kevin Owens has it. It's Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, which they did kind of a double turn on Raw Monday night. So, Richmond, Virginia is the place to be this weekend. You got Wizard World coming in there Saturday for the weekend at the Convention Center. You got NASCAR currently in Richmond. I'm watching the Xfinity Series race, lap number 99 out of 250. I believe Kyle Busch is leading it. I tell you what, this driver that they have there switching over to NASCAR now, this driver that they have in this Xfinity Series, Daniel Suarez, it's times like this when I wish I had the Ragin Redneck Charlie Roth on the phone, man, with the NASCAR news, because, golly, this Daniel Suarez, he's won races. I think he won at Michigan. But this kid, when he speaks, you can barely understand a word he's saying. You can definitely tell he's from Mexico, guys. Nothing wrong with that, but, usually you see that kind of thing in the IndyCar circuit. This guy needs subtitles whenever he does an interview. Dude, you're speaking, your core audience is people below the Mason-Dixon line between the ages of 18 and 50. They don't know what you're saying. They have no idea what this guy is in an interview. The sponsors are probably mad because he can't say them. He drives the Aris Toyota Camry. You do a post-interview with him, it's like talking to Speedy Gonzalez. Yes, sir, I'm the fastest. I drive for 80s. 80s. Who? 80s. But anyway, the NASCAR, man, there was a lot of, speaking of NASCAR, a lot of controversy last week. I'll start with the Truck Series. Cole Custer, John Hunter Nemechek, final lap. Cole Custer had that race in the bag for over half of it, and he lost it on the pits because it's a road course. I know Rubin is racing. I agree with it. The main problem I have with that finish is that when John Hunter Nemechek put Cole Custer into the wall coming around that last turn at that road course, they were racing up in Canada at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So when they were coming around the final turn, Joe Hunter Nemechek gets under Cole Custer. Cole Custer gets loose. Nemechek decides he's not done. Sorry, folks, a little bit of an interruption there. But my main problem with all of this, he puts him into the wall. My main problem with all of this is that you had workers, track workers, standing in the grass underneath the flag stand that had to bolt out of the way. If you go back and look at the footage, they come barreling down. John Hunter Nemechek's putting this sucker in the wall as they're racing down. It looked like something out of Days of Thunder. You don't get that too much in NASCAR anymore. I was happy to see it. Well, every once in a while it ain't that bad. You don't want to go out there and do that every week. But you got to think there were track workers standing around there that, that could have been hurt. They ended up giving John Hunter Nemechek the win. No penalty laying down as of yet, but I'm sure they got a talking to. Xfinity Series raced at Darlington. And Elliott Sadler won that race from Emporia, Virginia. If you ever go to Emporia, Virginia, man, the Sadlers pretty much own that town. Everything you look has their name on it. Car dealerships, truck stops, everything has Sadler written on it. Elliott, Hermie, all them people, all the Sadler family. Good to see Elliott Sadler will finally get the win at Darlington there with the throwback paint schemes. That's their version of old school night. If you do an old school Raw, that's NASCAR's version of it. They do the throwback paint schemes going from, I think it was the mid-'70s to early '80s. Good to see all the old paint schemes on the car, like the old mellow yellow. Kyle Petty's mellow yellow car was recreated. And then you go to the Cup race, man, and Kevin Harvick dominated that race. And I have mixed feelings about Kevin Harvick, man, with this pit crew deal. I've been, listening to the NASCAR channel all week on the XM satellite radio whenever I take a drive anywhere, and a lot of mixed feelings amongst the insiders, so to speak, about this whole deal, too. As my cat comes over. Hey, cat. So Kevin Harvick's pretty much dominating the race, and there within the last few laps or so, the guy loses, I think it was 17 positions in the pits. And for those who are not in the know, if you pit under green flag conditions, the race is still going while you're in the pits. The field doesn't freeze. So if like the first top 10 cars, or even if the whole field pits, whoever gets out of the pits first, or however the order is, that's the position you're now in for when they go back green. Kevin Harvick comes in first, leaves out 7th, I think, in one of the spots. It was ridiculous. And this is not the first time this year that Kevin Harvick has had issues with his pit crew. What are you doing, cat? Shadow. My cat is wandering around my desk. She's probably looking for food. Anyway. So what does Kevin Harvick do after this? He finishes second in the race. And he gets on the post-race interview with NBC and pretty much berates the pit crew. Pretty much tells them, hey, they lost the race for me. Pretty much said, I'm sick and tired of, his quote was, I'm sick and tired of playing cheerleader. These guys get paid good money to go over the wall and change tires, and they lost us the race, pretty much is what he said. He said the same thing in the post-race press conference. Now, I'm of two opinions on this. One, it's probably not a good idea to berate your entire pit crew on national television. Now, keep in mind, as of this recording, they changed or pretty much got rid of 3 of those over-the-wall pit crew members. So some heads rolled around the Stewart-Haas garages this week. They got rid of 3 of the over-wall crew members. After this week, it was crazy because all during the week, NBC and Fox they got those nightly NASCAR shows, and they were questioning Tommy Childers about this, and He's sitting there going, no, nothing's going to happen. These guys are under contract. We can't move them around. Well, apparently that wasn't the case, because on Sunday he's going to have 3 new over the wall crew members. Somebody's head rolled and hit the chopping block over there on the number 4 team. Let me know what you think about that if you're a NASCAR fan. What do you think? Should Kevin Harvick have said anything on national TV? I'm of two minds of it. I'm glad that the over-the-wall changes were made. I'm glad that there's some heads rolled. But you can, their families are watching, man. I wouldn't want my boss going on national television and berating me for the bad job I've done. I don't care if it does happen 5-6 times during the season. Going on there and saying, yeah, we lost some spots in the pits and that was pretty much what lost it, that's one thing. But going on there going, I'm tired of playing cheerleader, it's a bit harsh. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. I honestly, you know what? Like I said, I'm glad they made the changes. They did need to make the change. Some heads did need to hit the chopping block. We'll see on Sunday if it helps. Kevin Harvick's already in the chase for the Sprint Cup. He's already made that final chase, the final 10 races thing that they do now. I should say that they do now. It started in 2004, I believe, so they've been doing it for quite a while. It was either 2004 or 2006. I wish we had the Ragin Redneck Charlie Roth. We miss you, Redneck, when it comes to NASCAR stuff. So this week at Richmond, the chase gets locked down for both the NASCAR and the Xfinity Series. And next week they go to Chicago to start the first round. And I believe it's like every 2 or 3 races, maybe even 4 races, they knock off people from the chase, and they're no longer, there to win the championship. They're no longer eligible. I like it. I like that format better, way better than what it used to be, because it used to be, whoever was first in points, that was it. And if that sucker was 200-300 points ahead of second, there, by the time you get to Richmond, there's probably no way that they could make up that slack. But as you'll see if you watch it, when they go to Chicago, the points kind of get reset, so to speak. Clean slate. Anyway. CM Punk is making his MMA debut tomorrow night at the weigh-ins. He did not shake hands with Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall didn't like it. CM Punk, every chance he could get, playing to the crowd. Here's my opinion of this, and I've said it before. I used to be a hardcore Punk fan, still am. However, I have lost a tiny bit of respect for Punk over the last year. Yeah, actually, the last 2 years. Belittling the pro wrestling business, like, if it wasn't, sorry, Punk, but if it wasn't for the pro wrestling business, you would not be in the UFC right now. It's called a spade a spade. You'd be working for Ultimate Kickboxing Fights 400 at the local sportatorium in Paducah, Kentucky. What do you want, cat? But yeah, Punk wouldn't be nothing if it wasn't for the pro wrestling business. The fight got delayed many a times. Hurt his training won't going well. And then for him to get up there and not shake somebody's hand, sorry, but Mickey Gall does have a little bit more experience than you do. I watched the first episode of that documentary that they did. I was like, oh, God, this guy's got a long way to go. Haven't watched the second or third episode yet, and I'm not even ordering the fight. But I do hope that he goes in there and gets a little bit of humility thrown at him. I don't want the guy to get too injured, but I want it to maybe, rock his head to the point where maybe he looks at it and realizes, I'm 40-something years old, and this just is not for me. Will we ever see him back in pro wrestling? The way his mindset is, no. Would I like to see him back in pro wrestling? Yeah. I'm wearing his t-shirt right now, as a matter of fact. I am a CM Punk fan, but I don't like this version. I don't like MMA Punk. I like pro wrestling Punk. And who knows, maybe he'll learn a little bit of humility. Maybe he'll get his ass handed to him. And maybe he'll come crawling back to old Vinnie Mac. If not Vince, he's going to give Billy Corgan a call. I could see that happening. He won't get the money. He won't get nowhere near the money that he needs. Or that he should get. Hell, from the way things are going there, the wrestlers are lucky to be getting paid at all. But that's for another show. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Short episode this week. That's my thoughts on everything that's been going on. You know, I started a new job this week. The Comcast tell-all is coming. The venting will happen. Is there any point to it? No. That's why I'm stalling it. But I used to work for a company called Support.com who was contracted by Comcast. So I for 2 years, for the last 2 years, I've been in Comcast hell. And it has not always been Comcastic. If you think it's bad being a customer of Comcast, wait till you hear what it's like being an employee or a contractor for them. It ain't that pretty, folks. Anyway, that's it for this week's New Surge Live. I want to thank you all very much for watching. And we'll see you down the road.